All right, good morning, class 11, and today is 4th of November, and we'll continue with chapter 5, that is states of matter, right? And today will be your last lecture on it, so we'll try and cover as much as possible so that we can start the new chapter next time. All right, last where we had done till van der Waals equation, yes? Okay, so now we are going to start with critical temperature. I told you liquefaction of a gas. What is meant by liquefaction of a gas? It is that we apply pressure on a gas of a fixed volume. Okay, we just go on increasing pressure, keeping temperature constant. And what happens is a stage comes when the gaseous molecules, they are in a state of, all right, they are in a state of constant motion, right? Now if we are going to increase the pressure, how do we increase pressure? With the help of a piston. Okay, it is like this and it has got a handle here. It is a piston. It looks like injection, it's not that big. This is a container and you have a wooden plank, mean patra hota hai jaise, right? And on top of that there is a handle. Now you keep pressing this handle, what will happen? The pressure on the gaseous molecules will increase. Now you have to make it come here. Now if it is like that, what happens? The molecules, they come closer to each other. Yeah, molecules will come closer, and this distance, okay, the piston has come down now. Okay, piston has come down, so the volume available for gaseous molecules decreases. It decreases, they come closer to each other, right? Now what will happen? Force of attraction will increase, and a stage will come when when the gaseous molecules no longer remain in vapor phase, they change into a liquid. This is known as liquefaction of gases. This is known as liquefaction of gases. Now, what is liquefaction of gases? This I explained it to you. What is meant by liquefaction? Changing from gaseous state to liquid state just by applying pressure. Now, what about temperature? See, in gaseous phase, the kinetic energy of molecules is pretty high, isn't it? So, what will happen to that excess kinetic energy? If they are going to come to close to each other and they have high kinetic energy, then what will happen? They will try and move away from each other. So the temperature will also be lowered. The excess of energy, yes, the excess of energy will be given out. It will be an exothermic process. Now, at what temperature will the liquefaction of gas take place? Because all gases like oxygen, right? Real gases I'm talking about. Okay. So, correct. So, yes, carbon dioxide, because we can liquefy carbon dioxide, we can liquefy oxygen, we require them in day to day life. Okay, so what will happen and how we can make this process easy? If we know what is the critical temperature of that particular gas, if we know what is the critical temperature of that particular gas, then at that particular critical temperature, just apply pressure. Just increase pressure and the gas will get liquefied. Okay. Now what is this critical temperature? It is the temperature here. Just the kinetic energy which, yes, the kinetic energy of the gaseous molecules at that particular temperature is just enough. Okay, now if you will just apply pressure, it will change into liquid phase. So it is a minimum temperature. Okay, it is a minimum temperature at which just by applying pressure you can liquefy the gas. This is the advantage of knowing the critical temperature of a gas. Different gases will have different critical temperature. Okay, so suppose I want liquid oxygen. Now I am not going to experiment that I go on increasing pressure at what temperature it is going to liquefy. If I know the critical temperature of that particular gas, I will just apply the pressure required and I will change it into liquid state. Okay, this is the importance of concept of liquid, this critical temperature. The pressure applied at critical temperature is known as critical pressure. The volume occupied by the, yes, and the volume occupied by the gas is known as critical volume. Right. So I have given you some, they are together known as critical constants. Okay. Now TC stands for critical temperature. If anybody wants to calculate 8A upon 27 BR. Now R you already know is gas constant. What is A and B? From van der Waals equation. Yes, they are van der Waals constant, right? They are actually correction factors for pressure and volume. Okay, right. So similarly, critical pressure can also be calculated. Critical volume can also be calculated with the help of these formulas. Now here there is one graph given over here. This is volume, okay, and this is pressure. Yes, yes. Will have to be given to you because you are not going to calculate experimentally, right? Yes, if numerical is there, their values have to be given to you. All right, now look here. This is going to be your volume on this side and pressure on this side. Okay, now see, this is a critical temperature. What is actually happening? If a gas has to change into your liquid state at critical temperature, okay, at this critical temperature, I will just check the pressure. This will be your critical pressure. I will just apply that pressure, and the volume of the gas is going to decrease and it will become constant. That means at this part of the graph represent that it has changed into liquid phase. Okay, and the critical temperature so here given is 31.1 degrees centigrade, and this is the critical pressure. Okay, at critical temperature and applying critical pressure, the gas gets liquefied. This represents liquefaction. Now look here, what is the other graph? See, you increase pressure, volume will decrease. The shape of the graph will be this. Pressure goes on decreasing, volume will go on increasing. And if volume has to decrease, pressure has to increase. What is this part? This part represents the phase in when the gas is about to change into liquid phase. When the gas is being compressed, this part represents compression. It is going to change into liquid phase. And what happens here? You apply pressure, then what happens? Here, this part of the graph represents that it has changed into liquid. So this part can be shortened up in a graph. This period can be shortened up if I know the exact value of critical temperature. I will just apply critical pressure and change it into liquid, rather than, this is experimental what you are doing. You are going on increasing pressure and the volume is going on decreasing, and suddenly what happens? It changes into liquid. Okay, so this is the advantage of knowing the critical temperature of a gas. All right, now this one formula I have given. PC is what? Critical pressure, critical volume, and critical temperature. They are all related to each other, and the ratio is 8 by 3. It is equal to R. What is R? It is gas constant. Okay, PC VC upon TC is equal to 8 by 3 is equal to R. All right. So from here you were asking, you can even calculate the value of van der Waals constant A and B. If you know the critical pressure and critical volume of a gas, we can find out the value of A and B. Although in NCERT there are no such questions given at the back. Okay, so the concept of liquefaction of gas is there because it has practical use. Yes, all right. Now, a critical point or critical temperature, the densities of a substance in gaseous state and liquid state are same. At this point, there is no distinction between gaseous state and liquid state. Why? Because some molecules have already started changing into liquid phase and gaseous molecules are also present. So the what state of matter you will say? It is neither completely liquid and neither completely gaseous phase. And no second phase is formed irrespective of pressure of the system, whatever may be the pressure. Okay, but there will be gaseous molecules also, there will be your liquid molecules also. So If it is not critical pressure, critical temperature, then at any other temperature, it may exist in gaseous phase also, and your liquid phase also. I showed you this in the graph. During this phase, we have gaseous molecules also and liquid molecules also. This is liquid, this is gas, this is we call this transition phase. Okay, this transition phase can be shortened if we know the critical temperature of the gas. Okay, we don't have to waste that much time in liquefaction. Elastic collision, I have already explained it to you. Momentum is conserved. Okay, yes. Then yes, vapor pressure also I had explained it to you, that if a liquid is taken in a container, and even at room temperature, you keep water in a closed container and leave it for some time, you will find that the volume will decrease slightly, because at room temperature also they keep changing into vapor. These vapors, they strike against the walls of the container, exert pressure, and that pressure is known as vapor pressure. Okay, it is vapor pressure. All the time it is happening in rivers, lakes, and seas. That means in nature, continuous evaporation is taking place. There is a difference between evaporation and vaporization. ठीक है? Correct? Yes, correct. This can be done in the lab. It's an artificial process. You have to supply energy to the molecules in the form of heat, then they change into vapor, and then they will evaporate. Whereas evaporation is a natural process. It's happening all the time in nature, right? It is changing into, water is continuously changing into vapor phase. So we say water. In geography, you have said we never use vaporization, we say evaporation. But in chemistry, most of the time we use vaporization, because we are changing the liquids in the lab into vapor phase, the solution in the lab into vapor phase. So we this is more commonly used in the lab, whereas in geography you will use this term more often. Okay, so this is the difference. So here I have done evaporation in an open vessel. Now if evaporation is taking place in an open vessel, what will happen? Suppose I keep water in a glass in sunlight. What will happen after some time? What will happen after some time? All the water will evaporate. Okay, all the water, correct. But if I keep it in a closed container, the volume may decrease, because yes, there will always be some water in the container. There will always be some water in a container. Now, some interesting thing I am telling you right now. Okay, these words you already know. So let us see how we can have, because it will help us in equilibrium. See, this is liquid state, right? I'm just drawing in dotted line. This is liquid phase. Now it is changing into vapor phase. All right. The vapors will exert pressure. We can use a manometer and record it also. Okay. With the help of manometer, this pressure will be known as vapor pressure. Okay. Till here it is okay. All right. Now what will happen? Suppose there were 10 molecules on the surface. There were 10 molecules on the surface, and 3 have evaporated. So how many will be left behind? 5. 5. That means you are correct. Now it will be left behind with 7 molecules. Now, you know something I have told you about average kinetic energy? Okay. First 10 molecules were there. What is average kinetic energy equal to? Total kinetic energy upon number of molecules. ठीक है? If number of molecules go on decreasing, average kinetic energy will increase or decrease. Correct. They are inverse of each other. So it will increase. So if more number of molecules, see, they are striking against the ball, their kinetic energy decreases, because when they strike against the wall, they will lose some of their energy, and their kinetic energy decreases. Some of them condense and come back to the solution, and it is a regular process. Condensation and vaporization are always happening simultaneously. But what happens is, when three molecules have left, total number has decreased, average kinetic energy will increase. Okay, when average kinetic energy will increase, more molecules will leave the surface. Suppose three or two more will leave. Okay, a stage will come when average kinetic energy goes on increasing to the extent that all the molecules will evaporate, vaporize. Okay, they will, we can't use the word evaporate, it's a closed container. So most of the molecules will change into vapor phase, right? But what happens, it does not happen like this. In a closed container, why it does not happen that all the molecules will change into vapor phase? Because condensation will also take place. If if 10 molecules will leave the surface, at least 2 3 will come back. Okay, it will continue like this. So we say the solution or the liquid in a closed container is in equilibrium. Equilibrium means what? Equilibrium means the total number of molecules changing into vapor phase and those condensing back becomes equal. If there is a stage where 5 molecules are going up and 5 are going down, अब क्या होगा? The, if any time you are going to view the volume of this liquid, it will remain constant. It will be same, because 5 molecules are going up, 5 have come back. Again 5 are going up, again 5 have come back. So it will never happen that the total volume becomes zero. What will happen then? That the volume of the solution will become constant. Okay. So this is the concept of equilibrium. Now, this is evaporation in an open vessel. I have explained it to you how it will take place. In a closed vessel, this will be concept of equilibrium. Okay. What is equilibrium vapor pressure? If you measure the vapor pressure exerted at equilibrium, that will be known as equilibrium vapor pressure. When will equilibrium be established? When the number of molecules leaving the surface of the liquid becomes equal to the number of molecules condensing back into the liquid state. What is boiling point? Simplest definition of boiling point is, अच्छा, suppose I'll tell you about water. You start boiling water for tea, ठीक है? You will find vapors. Even at 70 degrees, you will find some of the molecules changing into vapor phase. So can we say that the boiling point of water is 70 degrees? We cannot say. That means, what will be the definition of boiling point? The boiling point definition is when vapor pressure of any liquid becomes equal to atmospheric pressure. तब क्या होगा? Again equilibrium will be established. And at that point, what will happen? Maximum number of molecules will change into vapor phase. But we can't say that all molecules will change into vapor phase. Okay, so that is it. So here, boiling point, the temperature at which the vapor pressure of any liquid is equal to external pressure. Now what is external pressure? Atmospheric pressure. Okay, it is called as boiling point. Okay, I'll give you a very nice example. See, water यहाँ पर, when we say it is 100 degrees centigrade, we take it as sea level, because most of the places are at sea level. Okay, when we are studying about boiling point of water being 100 degrees centigrade, it is at sea level. Okay, the same water will not boil at 100 degrees centigrade at the on a hill station. Why? See, if this is the mountain, okay, as you go up, the atmospheric pressure decreases. What is atmospheric pressure? The pressure exerted by various layers of the atmosphere. तो यहाँ पे एटमोस्फियर तो कम हो रहा है ना, right? So what will happen? Your atmospheric pressure will decrease. acha. Then boiling point is pressure, vapor pressure at which it becomes equal to atmospheric pressure. So if it was 100 degrees centigrade, here it was 100 degrees centigrade, what will happen as we move up? Water will start boiling at a lower temperature because its vapor pressure will become equal to atmospheric pressure, which has become less. Okay, so it will boil at a lesser temperature. अब इसका advantages क्या होगा and what will be the disadvantage? Greatest disadvantage is if you are cooking food, right? If you are cooking food, it will take a long time to get cooked because according to you, the water has actually boiled at a lower temperature and the food remains uncooked or it is partially cooked. To avoid this situation, we use we use pressure cookers. What do you think led to the invention of pressure cooker? Pressure cooker में the cooking time is reduced. Why? Because in yes, whatever, suppose you put little bit of water with vegetables, this will change into vapor, right? And what will happen? The vapor pressure will be equal to, the moment the vapor pressure will become equal to 1 atmosphere, there will be whistle. So it does not matter now that you are on the hill station or you are down below. Is that clear? Because it is not being affected by atmospheric pressure at all. What is it being affected by? It is going to be affected by the vapors which are present inside. They are exerting pressure. When the pressure here and the vapor pressure of this liquid will become equal, the whistle will blow. Okay, the pressure is applied from inside and the whistle blows. So it does not matter wherever you are in the world. If you are using a pressure cooker, the cooking time will remain the same. Is that okay? So this is the concept of your boiling point. If you know the boiling point, all right. But if you are using pressure cooker, so this I have explained it here. You can go through it. Okay. This concept I have explained it to you. Now next we have got properties of liquids. So far we have discussed enough about gaseous phase. Okay, I told you that is the most interesting phase, and solid phase in chemistry is the most boring phase. Is that clear? It is like when you are in a classroom. Okay, stacked 1 to 1, you are sitting 60 students in a class, so it is a most irritating. You can, as far as you are learning and the teacher is teaching and it is the topic is interesting, you find it interesting, isn't it? But after some time you want to go out of the class, isn't it? So the molecules, they become liquid phase. Then that is what, when you are during the interval time, interval time, uh, you can move around, you can talk to each other. What is gaseous phase? When you have to go home, it is home time. Okay, that is gaseous phase, freedom from school. Is that clear? So your gaseous molecules, since they have high kinetic energy, okay, there is a lot to study. They can be converted into liquid, liquids can be converted into solid, but solid can only be converted into liquid first of all, just by applying kinetic energy, that is increasing temperature. Then how they are arranged, those molecules, that is to study about solids. Now after gases we come to liquid phase. Okay, let us know some properties about liquids also. Surface tension is one of them, and it's a very important property. Surface tension means, if you have seen, if you drop a drop of water on the table, or a drop of alcohol, or a drop of any liquid, what happens? It quickly acquires a spherical shape, it becomes round. Why it becomes round? Because the surface of any liquid, if this is the surface of any liquid, it tries to acquire the minimum volume. Okay, because of surface tension. There is tension means what? There is a force. Okay, there is a force which tries to pull the surface of the liquid and try and make it to the minimum surface area. Okay, and minimum surface area is of a sphere. Okay, that is why all liquids, when they fall on the ground, even if a thermometer breaks and mercury falls on the ground, it acquires a spherical space. Okay, any liquid which falls drop by drop, okay, not that you throw a large amount on a surface, if only one drop is there, it will become spherical, because all liquids try and acquire the minimum possible surface area. Okay, that one example I've given. When thermometer, this also example I've given. Liquid in capillaries tubes also, when you fill a capillary, what is a capillary? A very very thin tube. Okay, now what happens, this here will acquire a spherical here sphere, but there is a condition for it. If this is opaque liquids are opaque liquids are means they are thick. Okay, thick liquids. Transparent liquids, they acquire this kind of a shape, this kind. If you have water in a test tube, you have seen it acquires this shape, higher here, lower here. This is known as meniscus. This is known as meniscus. If it is opaque, you cannot see the lower part, then the upper part is rounded. This is due to surface tension. Okay, the force operating here. Now, next is surface tension definition. Surface tension is defined as the force acting per unit length, the force acting per unit length perpendicular to the line drawn on the surface. All right, its SI unit is Newton meter, because it is force acting per unit area. So surface tension will be what? Force acting per unit area. Unit of force is Newton, and area is what? Meter square. Okay, right? Huh. But here, what does Newton stand for? Kg meter per second square, right? So if we write kg meter per second, okay, and upon meter square, what will happen? What are we left with? Only meter. Only, correct. Okay, so these will be your dimensions of it. Now here you can see force acting per unit length. This is your liquid in a capillary. Okay, I've got a liquid here. A line drawn perpendicular, a line drawn here, imaginary line. Okay, a force operating perpendicular to this line. This is known as surface tension, right? And this is always moving in the downward direction. That is why the liquid is drawn towards the inside. The liquid will be drawn towards the inside. Okay, so it will try and acquire a minimum surface area. Okay, effect of temperature and pressure on surface tension. Surface tension decreases with increase in temperature because the force acting per unit length decreases due to increase in kinetic energy of the molecules. Okay, if kinetic energy will increase, molecules will start moving away. All right, when they will start moving away, they will overcome the force of surface tension. So surface tension decreases, it is inversely proportional to temperature. Okay, all right, about pressure, here it is. Surface tension increases with increase in external pressure, because already surface tension is moving in the downward direction. If external pressure is more, what will happen? That will add to surface tension. Okay, so surface tension will increase. Next property is viscosity. Of course, definition is only this much is there in your syllabus this year. No derivation is there, or short derivation is also given in your um, NCRT. Formula is also given, but they have deleted that part. Now, what is viscosity? Viscosity is, uh, see here, this is a liquid. Imagine liquid to consist of various layers. Okay, Correct, correct. Suppose you imagine if you have seen honey, okay? If honey falls on the surface, it spreads slowly. We say honey is a viscous liquid. Viscous means thick. So it flows through, it is going to flow slowly. The layer on the top will have highest velocity, and the one which is lowest is going to have the lowest velocity. All these layers will have different velocity. Now the difference between the velocity of various layers is known as velocity gradient. It is known as velocity gradient. Gradient means difference. Okay, so v minus u will give you velocity gradient. That is the difference between them. Okay, all right. Now what happens? It is also defined as a force. Viscosity is also a force which is directly proportional to area. Alright, area here can be substituted by dv by dx. D is a small change in velocity. Why a small change? Because the distance between the two layers is very less, right? And the difference in velocity is also very less. So this will be dv by dx. What is x? X is the distance between two layers. Distance between two layers. Okay. So here it is proportional to area also. It is proportional to this dv by dx, that is change in velocity with respect to a small change in the distance, is known as velocity gradient. So f is directly proportional to a also. It is directly proportional to velocity gradient. We will equate it and put a constant over there. If we put a constant over here, this is known as neta. What is this known as? Correct. And see, it is like small n, but you extend it like this. Okay? It is small n. This is known as neta, and this is your velocity coefficient of viscosity. How to get this coefficient of viscosity? How can you define it? Simply F into dx upon A into dv. Okay? A you take as unity 1. Okay? Area of the liquid will be 1, and dv by dx is also going to be 1. Then what will happen? F will be equal to n, neta. So coefficient of viscosity will be defined as the force acting per unit area, alright, with the velocity gradient of 1 meter. 1 meter. Okay, that means 1 meter per second, because it is velocity gradient, difference in velocity. So the unit will be meters per second. Okay, so from here I have derived this. Is that clear? Okay, effect of temperature and pressure on viscosity. Now you will tell me, if you have a thick liquid and you increase the, suppose you have to heat honey, what happens? करा है कभी? No, you haven't done it. So if we have to increase decrease the viscosity, means the liquid has to become thin. We heat it. The kinetic energy of the molecules will increase, okay, and the force acting on the liquid is going to decrease. And what will happen? The liquid will spread, because the molecules will start moving away from each other. So it is directly proportional or inversely proportional? It starts melting. Mhm. But there the reason is not viscosity. The reason is something else. There is change of state. Jelly is a viscous state. Okay. There is only change of state is taking place. Here what happens is, the viscosity, if it decreases, then the liquid will spread more. Okay, that is what it is. So viscosity decreases with increase in temperature. It increases with increase in pressure. It is same as surface tension. Okay, because the force required to maintain the flow increases due to the increase in velocity gradient. Okay, and increase in area of contact. What is area of contact? See, the lowest layer is in touch with the surface on which the liquid is spreading. That is known as area of contact. The area which is between the liquid and the surface, that is covered by the liquid, that is known as area of contact. Now, for here I have just explained it to you what is meant by coefficient of viscosity, neta, and how to get the definition for it. Simply cross multiply, take area as 1 square meter, and this will be your velocity gradient will be 1 meter per second. So this is going to be your definition. Okay, this is your velocity gradient. I had already explained it to you. It is the difference, a small, very small difference in velocity with respect to the distance between the two layers. This is known as velocity gradient, right? Okay, so I will send you the PDF again. Okay. Hmm. Okay. 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 Viscosity here, this page. So this page you want. This page is there. Effect of temperature on viscosity. Okay, only this page is missing. Okay, I'll send you right now. Okay, before evaporation, this left side page. Okay, this is missing. Boils temperature is missing. What is Boyle's temperature? Okay, yes, Boyle's temperature, I think we missed out. It is a temperature at which the real gas exhibits almost ideal gas behavior. Okay, that is your Boyle's temperature. Alright, the formulas which I have given you, in case in competitive exam you are required to calculate something. So I have given you those formulas, okay, to calculate all this. But for your board exam,